Glad you're watching Good Things Utah, everybody, on this Monday. So happy we get now to sit down with the author of a new book that comes out tomorrow about the Elizabeth Smart story. It is called Unexpected, and Chris Thomas is joining me. I want to read, just to introduce you, what John Walsh says about this book, former host, creator of America's Most Wanted. This is a book our country needs now more than ever. It's a story of family, community, and our nation coming together for this rare, happy ending where the good guys win. Chris has written this must-read for everyone. This took 20 years for you to reflect on and put together. Tell us about it.
It did. Having 20 years was such an incredible advantage. I knew I had a story when she was rescued, but having the opportunity to have some more life experience and then really sit back and slow down so many of those experiences and look at them from different angles and then to write about it. And I think good memoirs aren't necessarily about what happened, but it's what you can learn from what happened. And I really tried hard to accomplish that.
And there are some revelations. That's what is so stunning about this book, that 20 years later, we're still finding out information, thanks to you, Chris. But there are things that haven't been written yet, even 20 years later. I thought everything had to be written about this story about Elizabeth Smart.
Absolutely. I waited until the last minute to title the book, and it was after a number of people had read it, and the response I got time and time again is, I didn't expect that. Jason Wright, who's the New York Times best-selling author, he came back and he said, I thought I knew everything there possibly was. There's been millions of words written about the Elizabeth Smart case, and I'm astonished at how much new there is in this book.
Let's go back for a second. Describe your role in that case to our viewers, like how you know these intimate details.
Absolutely. So I was a publicist for the Smart family. Initially, we had a team of 8, so I get a lot of credit, and there were other people that were involved. But day to day, we were working with the media. I worked very closely with Nisha. We bonded. We worked together daily for probably 8-9 weeks before you had your baby.
They had this command center set up there in Federal Heights, and I did not even come into the station for weeks and weeks. I know you did nothing but that. National media, media from all over the world,
yes,
descended. I mean, had you ever experienced anything like that?
I don't think I have, nor have I since then. I have worked on some pretty big national cases, but that was by far one of the largest. But just the pressure, knowing that we were trying to find a child and that even one misstep could compromise that. And so the pressure was immense. And also it being in our community. I mean, so many incredible people came to help the family, came to be a part of the search for Elizabeth. Being a part of that was an amazing experience, but we wanted a good ending for our community as well.
You talked about intimate details, and that's how you knew, because you worked so closely with Elizabeth Smart's family. Talk about some of the revelations that were discovered that maybe people don't know.
So, Saray, there were a number of things. I think a good point there is, not only was I working with the media, but I very quickly became very close to the family. I was working on the investigation and various elements. Without giving away a lot of spoilers, there were a number of times when the police department sabotaged things that we were trying to get out. Either asking us to lie about various elements, or in one particular case, when we finally came forward with the information that Mary Catherine, Elizabeth's 14-year-old sister, her 9-year-old sister, finally remembered that it was this other man that had been in the room that night. The police told the media that it was something I had concocted to get Elizabeth back into the news. And of course, who do you trust? The Smart family spokesperson or law enforcement? And so most of the media stayed away from that, aside from John Walsh, who was really a hero in this case.
You also say investigators asked the family to lie after a break-in at Elizabeth's cousin's home 8 weeks after Elizabeth's abduction.
Yeah, what was ironic about that was her cousin, Olivia, was one of her best friends. And secondly, the break-in was eerily similar to what happened at the Smart house. Yet the police did not want that coming out. They wanted to be able to investigate it. And it was during that period, too, that the national media kind of picked up and went away. It took about a month before the story finally broke. And by that time, they had gone away, and it was written off as a prank. And so it was really never given the credence that it should have been given. And there are lots of steps where if something had gone differently, maybe we would have gotten Elizabeth back earlier. On the flip side, maybe if things hadn't happened the way they did, she might still be out there.
Chris, any reaction from the Salt Lake City police? And then I also want to ask how the reaction is from Elizabeth Smart.
Absolutely. I haven't heard much from the police, and I want to be really clear in talking about the police. They were doing their best, the best they could. And I believe in general, our law enforcement officials, they're underappreciated. They're underfunded, and in a lot of cases working with a lot of stress and trauma and doing what they can. And so I don't want to come off as being an indictment on law enforcement, because really most of the people were doing what they could and what they felt was best to find her. As far as the Smart family, I've had very good response. When Elizabeth read the book, she read it in about 12 hours. And it was one of the most gratifying experiences in writing this book, was hearing her reaction. She was so appreciative. There were so many things that she didn't understand that had happened, or the depth of what had happened. And we talked for about 2.5 hours, and it was, what happened here? And again, what was that? And she's been one of my biggest cheerleaders. I'm so grateful for her support.
She wrote the foreword. She wrote the foreword to the book. You were on Good Morning America with her. Nicely done. They did a great piece about this book and the book coming out. Did you ever think, when we were up there, that she'd be found? Did you ever fathom?
You know, I always kept up hope. I think as a reporter, you're very clinical, right? Mm-hmm. And in my position, I had to be very clinical and like, okay, I've got to keep the rational brain working. But emotionally, I really had hoped. And there was a point, I write about it in the book, where about a month before Elizabeth was rescued, that Ed and I, late at night, were having a conversation. He said, I know she's alive. I know she's out there. Are we doing everything we can to find her? And my heart just skipped a beat and knew, you know, this father has some real intuition. So we all had hoped for that outcome, and nothing could have been more miraculous.
Unexpected, that's the name of the book. It comes out tomorrow. Where can people get it?
Everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Deseret Book.
Chris Thomas.
The actual 20th anniversary coming up March 12th.
Sunday, yes. Sunday. So we're there. Can you believe it?
Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for coming by the show. We're back with more GTU after this.